Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Everquest Old School. And tonight we are over in Unrest. Figured you guys want to see my character. We were playing my Cleric, of course, who is level 19, almost level 20. It's about halfway there. And we're going to be over here in Unrest for a little while. I'm going to try to get to at least level 21. That way next time we can come in and go to the room upstairs, which is the fireplace. And I think that's going to be really fun to do because we've been down here for a little while. And so I know some of you guys are probably getting a little used to the zone, at the very least to say. But yeah, it's so good. The experience is really, I don't know the right word to use because it's not that the creatures are easier to kill or harder. They're about average. It's just that you get so much more from them because of the zone bonus experience. It's the same thing as Crushbone or Mistmore. They all have a bonus experience in that zone. And I've noticed after playing my Necro over in Oasis just how slow killing in other zones can be. I didn't really appreciate it since I've come back, just how fast I was leveling, and it's been really quick. As you guys remember, I came here when I was, I think, level 14 or 15, and I'm level 19 now, and it really took about 2 days of hunting in here, about 3 hours a piece to get up to this, so it's really quick. Doesn't take too long at all. But it's been a lot of fun. The groups here are really good. For the most part, not too many trains. They do happen once in a while, and when they happen, they tend to happen again and again, one right after each other. So it's kind of one of those things where you know, you may not see a train for your entire time in the zone that day, and then, you know, the next day you log on and there's, you know, 15 in a row. You know, it's just one of those things you're gonna have to be used to. I kind of like it that way, actually, because you can kind of get very comfortable in the zone if things are going very well, and then other times when they're not, you can be on guard. You can be, you know, watching out for that kind of stuff to happen. And you'll notice certain things that will tip you off whether it's going to happen or not. You'll go into places where you'll see guys running around and pulling in ways that probably would not be the best way for them to do that, and you know they're going to pull aggro. Now usually it's the pullers who see this kind of thing happening before anybody else does. Let's put my Expulse Undead on, at least I can help with that. They see this kind of stuff happening before anybody else, and they can let the group know and be like, hey guys, this guy out here is pretty nuts. He's doing some stuff that's kind of not what I would prefer to see. So yeah, just be ready if a train happens, you know, because it's a possibility. Because all it really takes is for one person to enter a zone who either doesn't care or doesn't know how to pull that area, and they can cause some serious issues, especially in a zone like this. Because as you go through this castle, if you come in here when it's camped, you'll get here and you'll be looking around and you'll see, yeah, there's not very many things up. I'll take a look around. Why not? It's not that big of a deal, right? And as you look around, you may actually get some ads. Something may spawn right on top of you. And if it does, well, you may not be able to kill it. And if you can't, you're going to run. And when you run into this zone, you're going to run past like 3 or 4 groups because the building is so small and the way out goes through those groups. If you come down the stairs, you have to go through this one little room that we're sitting in to get out to the exit. And so you're gonna train this group. You probably train a couple other groups as well, and that's all it really takes is that 1 or 2 extra mobs when you weren't planning on it, hitting you at just the right time or the wrong time, depending on how you look at it, and just, you know, messing everything up. Sometimes all it takes for you to be able to beat that fight or not die is the ability to meditate. You know, if you can meditate during the fight, that might give you the power you need to actually win. But if you have an extra couple pulls and instead of meditating, you're actually spending a little bit more power trying to root the creature away from everybody, and then go sit down and things keep breaking and things keep hitting you and you're healing the whole time, and all these things that can happen when you have multiple creatures, yeah, you may not win because you're going to run out of power, and it's going to be really close sometimes. And so that situations like that is why I don't have a problem with maintaining my power at 100 in most groups, because eventually something negative is going to happen. Something bad is going to happen. The timers are going to be off. Somebody's going to go link dead. You know, things like that are going to happen. and you're going to need that extra little power. So for all classes, not just healers, especially DPSs, my suggestion would be to save about a bubble of power just in case. You know, if you want to kill the creatures off as fast as possible, I understand that. But if you get creatures you weren't expecting, you need that extra little something to get through it. And whether that is your ability to do more damage because you have that extra spell in your arsenal that you know, allows you to all of a sudden start triple hitting or doing something along those lines, or you have an extra, you know, heal spell in case you know, your main healer runs out. And paladins will do that a lot of the time as well. They'll leave a little bit extra power in case you know, their druid or their shaman. Usually not clerics, because once you get complete heal, you almost never really have to worry about. Can you leak that shield, Bill? But yeah, once you get complete heal, you usually never really have to worry about power all that often. You're usually pretty good. But for the other classes, it can be tough, because when you don't have a complete heal, you're using very costly spells, very high on the power-wise, and they don't heal anywhere close to a complete heal. Obviously, that's why they give it to the cleric, because they want to say, okay, you're a pure class healer. You should get a spell that makes you different from all the other ones. So you get something that nobody else gets. But the other guys can do it. It's just they're going to run low on power occasionally, and you're going to have to contend with aggro a lot more, because the more you heal, the more chance you have of stealing aggro. And I've kind of mentioned in some of the other videos that there's different ways of getting aggro. You can do direct attacks, you can do taunting, healing will get you aggro. Another way that you can get aggro is by sitting, or being very low on life. The creatures don't like it when you're sitting down. And so if you're sitting when they pull in a group, my suggestion would be to stand up for the first 4 or 5 seconds, just to make sure that they don't come hitting you. Because once they're on top of you, it's a lot more difficult to pull them off of you. You know, somebody has to switch targets and grab the creature, taunt it a couple times, pull it off of you, get close enough to you to be able to do that if he's, you know, far enough away. So he's positioning the mobs, and now he's moving back just to get that one mob that went to you because you were sitting down. They're not really going to blame you when you're in groups. They will get mad at you, though, when you're in raids and you do stuff like that. So, yeah, you kind of want to be getting prepared for that. And oh, crap. Hold on a second, guys. I don't know where all those creatures came from. We just got trained here. We go ahead and gate out. We said run. 2 of them is tough. Okay, so I guess... Oh, crap, that sucked. He died fast. And I hope these guys got out. He said to run, so I ran. I hate leaving them. I hate leaving first. I hate leaving at all. But when they give you the instructions to run, you want to follow them. You don't want to be one of those people to stay behind, especially in a raid. If they say to camp out, you camp out. You don't ask questions. You don't wait around to make sure that it's okay to camp out. When they say to do something, you should just do it. And usually you're going to be better off for it. But you're going to feel bad sometimes. That sucked. So, wow. Hold on, guys. So I guess we're going to go ahead and end the video here while we go back in and break the room. You know, I'm going to film that as well, but yeah, definitely going to go ahead and end the video here. Again, guys, if you like these videos, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe. Definitely leave comments down below. I'd love to hear back from you guys. And thanks for watching. Catch you guys next time. Okay, guys, so we just died, or actually not all of us, just one of us died nearly instantly from that train. You guys just saw her, obviously, but I went ahead and took a 5-minute break right there while I ran off, got some water, and came back. My group is still recovering from it. It was near instant. That guy went down within, I would probably say, about 2 or 3 seconds. It probably wasn't even that long. Yeah. So somebody trained that. I don't think it was done on purpose. I think it was more of a a thing where somebody had pulled something, got more than they intended to, and made a run for it. And when they made a run for it, like I think I was actually literally just talking about that a few minutes ago, where somebody will do that. And we were having a really good group here. We were doing very well. And then just out of nowhere, something like that happens, and you don't even have a chance. No chance whatsoever of surviving that fight, because those creatures are such a high level compared to what you're at, that they quite literally killed him before I even noticed what was going on. Even if I had been paying real close attention and I had caught those creatures running into the room earlier before they even hit anybody, I still wouldn't have been able to kill them. Oh, crap. Holy crap, run. Oh, my God. Another train. Come back, run. Okay, here we go, guys. We're gonna train again. Oh. Okay, so it's gonna be one of those nights. One of those nights where the train just never resets if you log back in too soon. And as I said, I took a 5-minute break. I went over and got some water and stuff, and this thing is still going on 5 minutes later. So yeah, you gotta watch out for that. It's gonna definitely be an issue in zones like this. Fun, don't get me wrong. It brings me back to the old times, especially in this zone. But I think I need to put my Invis versus Undead on. That way I don't have to worry about that. Let's see, where is it? Invis. I don't see it there. I think I passed it. Yeah, I passed it somewhere. Yeah. Somebody says another train. Where is it at? Somebody just came in as well, so yeah, it's still going on. But if you put invisibility versus undead on, it should be okay. You should be a little bit better off. Let me see, can I heal this guy? Yes, I can. They walked back through the courtyard, or the backyard, and came back from the side of the house. Sorry about that. They were back in the house now. Okay, so it should be safe to go in there. I'm gonna keep healing this guy up. No, he's gonna zone. Okay. Put my Invis versus Undead on. Make sure it actually lands, because you can fizzle on that quite a bit if you've never used it before. Okay, so it's on. It's gonna last 26 minutes and 54 seconds. The Invis, though, I remember back in the day, and I'm not sure if it's the same way with this one, but I remember with the Invis, it could fail at any time. So you'd put an Invis on versus Undead, or even just a regular one, and you'd be running through a zone, and at any given second, that thing could fail. And when it did, that usually meant that you would die. And so that just added another little, you know, tinge of danger to whatever you were doing. Even if you had Invis to get through a little area, you were still very much afraid that you still might not make it. And you don't really have that sense of danger in a lot of the new games. You know, if you put Invis on in a new game, you're safe. You're good to go. You're not really gonna have to worry about anything. And in this one, yeah, not always the case. Plus, there would always be at least 1 or 2 creatures that would see through Invis, and they would really mess things up, because you would be walking through and there'd be plenty of creatures there that didn't see through Invis, and so you felt like you're pretty safe and things were going pretty well. And then all of a sudden, yeah, right out of the blue, you're dead. Because when he breaks through your Invis, he hits you, and then when he hits you, you're now visible to every single other creature in that zone. And so you could imagine how not clearing the path and just going through it in Invis would make you very vulnerable to, you know, just getting trained out of the blue just because something saw through your Invis. And so you kind of had to learn where those creatures were, which ones saw through Invis, which ones didn't, which ones would come after you, which ones paved around certain corners. There would even be the whole thing of aggro radius. There's some creatures, imagine the creature, and around that creature is a circle, a bubble, and within that bubble, if anything you know, goes through it, paves through it, or whatever, he will sense that and go running and attack that person. In some zones, that bubble, or some creatures in that zone, that bubble would be 3 or 4, even sometimes 5 times as big as most of the other bubbles in the game. So you would really have to worry about getting it over your head. You know, if you ran down a corridor and you were perfectly fine, you're pulling creatures, and then all of a sudden you passed by a building that you weren't familiar with, and every single creature in that building came running out because you passed by the wall, yeah, you're all gonna die. But now you know not to go that route. And so it's one of those learning things. But some groups, especially at higher levels, they don't have a lot of patience for people who are learning, You know, it's regrettable. Some people are like that. Some people don't want to die. They don't like the experience loss. Nobody does. But they don't want to die, and they take it a big offense when they do. And my suggestion would be to stay out of groups like that. Don't go and get into a group with people who are too serious about the game, or can't take a little bit of setback once in a while. Especially if you're trying. If you're not trying and you're just being a jerk and you're just going through and killing people, I can understand people getting upset. But if you're trying and you're legitimately still learning the game, nobody should have the right to start screaming at you because you don't know your character. You know, everybody, I don't care who they are, if they're in the best guild, doing the best raids, and they've been on the game for, you know, 15 years, they're still learning something. There's still something they don't know. Whether they will admit to it or not, there's still stuff out there they don't know. Or stuff that they've forgotten that they used to know. And so, unless you're perfect, I don't think you should be, you know, yelling at anybody else because... great. Heal them, and I got the aggro. I hope he's bound somewhere safe. Experience leeching. Wow, see, they're taking that really personally. They had somebody here who went AFK to talk on the phone and never came back. And so they were saying that they were experience leeching. They booted him out of the group, and they've been kind of talking bad about him, negative stuff about him. And I'm like, you know, I remember back in the day when I keep saying that too because this is such an old game, and that's when I played it. I gotta stop saying that, but yeah, there was times where people would fall asleep at the keyboard, and the group would quite literally stay for 4, 5, 6 hours longer than what they intended to, hoping he'd wake up. And people would cast as many spells as possible standing right next to him, because as you guys have already heard, when you're standing on top of somebody, the spells you cast are incredibly loud. And so you're trying to wake the person up. And we would do that just so that they wouldn't die, because you never knew where they were bound. If they died and they were bound someplace really, really horrible, then when they spawned, their character would be standing there. And if they get killed, they would die, spawn again, die, spawn again. And before you know it, they could have, you know, a couple of thousand corpses and lost like 10, 15 levels by the time they wake up in the morning. And so people would go out of their way to help people out like that. And I don't know, I don't really like these people getting so hostile about this kind of stuff. It's not really worth it to get upset about pixels. It's a game, and yes, you do take it seriously, and yes, you do have a lot of stuff that you can learn and excel at and do you know, some really exceptional stuff, but